insist on telling you today that when I talk to you, oh, Cupid walks right through and shoots me. Oh, I wish I find a lover that could help me. Now I'm crying in my room, so scared they got.
I can show you what you wanna see and take you where you wanna be. You could be my luck. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound. We're safe and sound.
I really don't get it. She say what you want her to say. At the end of the day, I'm still getting money. Regardless, I'm still getting paid. She want Gucci, Louis, and a Fendi. Fuck around and leave your pockets empty. Swear.
I threw a wish in the well. Don't ask me, I'll never tell. I looked to you as it fell, and now you're in my way. I trade my soul for a wish, pennies and dimes for a kiss. I wasn't looking for this, but now where you think you're going, baby? Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right.
И поэтому знаю, со мной ничего не случится.
Only thing you got is your word. I put that shit on my mama. Now you really just can't get comfy. Gotta keep at it, buddy. Oh, I had this money, wasn't worth about nothing. That shit feel. Walking that bitch like, how the hell y'all doing? How y'all feeling today? Ready to turn myself in down at the station. I made a killing today. Always gonna be money. Always gonna be hoes. Always gonna be a little too high for this. Jesus, take the wheel.
Brand new range, I just painted it ready. I set trends from Queens to Beijing. I'm not the one to do the imitating. Puff, puff, puff.
Oh, look his balls. Come on. Do it, Musty.
Do it, in your neck! In your neck! In your fucking neck!
Yo. Only took me 20 minutes to take a shit. Oh, kävisi.
Joudutko päin? Hän paska tiiä.
Oh, ei kun
Kijoiden päätepysäkki on Aurora. Sanat ehdottomia niinku Toora, säilyy niinku Ampora. Suoraan sun korvas isken, kun oisin puhelimen nuuri. Skenen viruksiin ei tepsi pelkä antibioottikuuri. Puhun sulle juuri, yhdistetään molli sekä duuri. On aika heittää pois kaikki turha krumeluuri. Uusi aikakausi alkaa, tää on hip-hop renesanssi. Häkellyttävä on meidän ryhmän koko performanssi.
hei, jos maksat 16 € striimauspalvelusta ja 11 € musiikkipalvelusta ja 13 € kuntoilusovelluksesta ja lisää monesta muusta sovelluksesta, se tekee jo aika paljon. Mikset siis hanki YouTube Premiumia hintaan vain 4...
Not knowing if the Kongs lived or died. It's so weirdly dark, especially for a Donkey Kong game. Like, most Nintendo game overs are cartoony or lighthearted. This one feels like the end of the world and you're a statue now. That's it. You're just a statue. These aren't flashy or violent deaths, but something about the way they show your character as just an object make you agree with this. So, Donkey Kong Country, the first game, messing up too many times leaves Donkey and Diddy Kong beat up and slumped in defeat. Donkey hides his face in shame, while Diddy just has a black eye and holds his head. The screen is pitch black, the game over text is carved out of. This one goes more atmospheric, like Diddy and Dixie are trapped in a prison cell, and the game over text slowly drops from the top of the screen as the light from a tiny window shines down on them. Diddy gazes out the window while Dixie turns away, arms crossed, looking defeated. It's weirdly sad. There's this disturbing cutscene where one of her Cortex Reavers drags your limp body to the chamber. You're completely powerless. Then it cuts to your brain getting sealed inside some metal monstrosity. You're conjured out of here and literally jumps off the screen, instantly ending your game and causing an immediate game over. It's a quirky but kind of unsettling touch. As options, yes or no. If you pick no, the screen cuts to black and drops a cold metallic game over in silver text. Feels pretty final, right? It's bizarre. What made it really creepy, especially for the time, was how quiet it all was. The tension came from the status lines like Brex has seen you, or a parasite called Lavos is going to destroy the world. The goal? Well, stop Lavos, obviously, and change the a lot of the death screens, those eerie moments where something finally catches you, actually hint at twisted backstory, like I think it's based off Unit 731, like the human experiments, while others are just clever references to games like PT, FNAF, or I'm Scared. And that's not really haunting about the silence that follows your death. It's just really still, and with the haunting soundtrack by Kao Otani in the background, the game kind of forces you to just sit in your specially cursed. I have to see it, so you have to see it too. To confront ethical nightmares about transferring minds and like body swapping stuff. I'm pretty sure what this entry is referring to though is this game over screen that again I'm just gonna play during this time, I guess. So what sets this bootleg apart is its unsettling game over screen. Upon losing all lives, players are presented with an image of Felix tearing off his face, revealing a bloodied skull beneath. This graphic is a colorized version of an artwork titled Felix the Cat Unmasked. Dumb and harmless, but at least it's got some staying power. Okay, the bite of 87 suspects. I'm grouping both of these together, Foxy and Mangle. But yeah, the bite of 87. The single line of pretty clean, so I'm kinda confused with this one. This artist's Pixiv description literally translates from Japanese to physics and medicine. Now, this is one of the artists with the most disturbing art in this iceberg art, you know. It involves a lot of torture, a lot of amputation, a lot of internal organs. You know, it is what it is. This Japanese artist does cool, surreal, and I'll definitely make a revamp Iceberg Explain if another interesting one comes out. Alright, bye, see you guys in the next video. hazard. Smile.jpg. Smile.jpg, also known as Smile Dog, is a notorious internet creepypasta that originated from a cursed individuals who are actually manifestations of the same soul or consciousness, experiencing different lives to learn and grow spiritually. The egg theory can be considered an info hazard because it challenges conventional beliefs. The concept of breaking your thumb ligament refers to a method or technique that suggests it is possible to break a ligament in one's thumb using only the force of emotionally. They then simply drive the host beyond their fullest capacity for psychological pain. The sickness that it comes with SPCG a man stretching his backside with his hands. The image gained notoriety in the early days of the internet and has been widely circulated as a shock meme, rumored to be a front for an ex-military assassination ring. And after finding some discussions on contract killers in the source code of the website, people were able to
He's talking about.
I thought that sounded like an old rapper. You know, y'all got these.
And I think he's talking about Puff Daddy, but I mean,
did he smoke somebody in the club?
I don't know if he did or not, but evidently that's see who they're doing it to, because I don't believe that everybody that's involved in stuff like this, that's not how they start out. Where you been, what you did, and all of that that's the sign of being a man. You cannot change your past. You can't, and you can't change what's already taken place, but you can.
With the very first one. I'm kind of nervous. Should I be nervous? No way! Why are we starting off with this creepy ass laugh, man? Oh, I should be nervous. I'm kind of scared now. It's okay. I can do it. At Five Nights at Freddy's 2. This is slightly different vibes. I like, if you guys know the lore, which I assume you do, I like how they show the puppet guiding like the souls. I like Oh no. Oh Jesus. I want to throw you out just like my broken TV. Okay. If you'll come back once more. Favor, and let's say okay. Bye. Bye. We're all lived. Bye, all the animatronics. And I'm back to the. Okay, I think it's too late for you guys to be ever fixed. This one's a lot longer too than the other ones. Oh, nice.
The animatronic characters here do get
Chunk. Why are you T-posed? Why do you got that haircut? Why do you look like a bitch? Has one every 3 seconds. Once he reaches the middle position of the hallway, we can now see him with our flashlight. The problem is, we cannot scare him away. If we keep our flashlight on him for too long, he will jump scare. And then they were already there. What the fuck? Trying to figure out how this goofy ass dude. Come on! I'm gonna make a break for it. Dude. He went in a vent, bro. I told you he does this shit. I'm dead in 3. Alright. Bro, fuck!
Click in a video. So this is what I mean by this tangent. If mods play a level that has fun gameplay, that can bump it up a rating when they send it. So, level has good gameplay, they have fun playing it, they say, I guess it doesn't look that good, but it could possibly be.
Once you've bought the zero frame flip, by mousing over the camera button just as you press the S key, you'll never actually be on the cameras, but you can still pull them down. The figurine has a one, it causes tons of problems. Maybe he knew that the Bones5 YouTube channel on YouTube would try to beat this game with the worst luck possible, like 10 years later, who knows, man. Here's what I mean. Take a look at the interval timer roughly around 1 AM. Everything seems roughly synced up. Remember that once Foxy's interval crosses over, we have to check both doors with the worst possible luck. However, it may be possible with no cheese. Just extremely difficult. I'll be putting the link to this version of FNAF 1 in the description along with the ends of the doors in this opening animation. Foxy is at the door, but he is not jump scaring you. During these 12 frames, you can turn on the light, which has a 20% chance to flicker every single frame. When this flicker happens, he's never gonna leave. So unfortunately, any traditional 10-20 strategies aren't gonna work here. We are going to need a strategy that prevents Toy Bonnie from ever entering the vent, but make sure you get out of the cameras before the next 5-second interval. Because movements on his way to the office, he won't appear as much and therefore the night will be a lot easier. He could also leave the vent early during his attacks, as vent animatronics have that 1 in 10 chance every second to leave the vent when the mask is on. If he happens to leave early, it's really easy to keep the animatronics in their stun. During my first -7 completion, Balloon Boy attacked a total of 10 times. So you'll only need to click 2 cameras in the recovery. By only hitting 2 cams, you'll mess up less but also get more time on the music box. For one final optimization, I had to address one problem. Sometimes during the recovery phase after a Balloon Boy attack, I would fumble and click cam 1 when trying to flick to the music box to wind. So instead of doing 2, Phantom Freddy will spawn. Normally, when using FGP, you'd eat the first Phantom Freddy jump scare at 1 AM to get rid of him. They'll wait until the next 3-second interval to leave the door. So as long as the door is
that some would say rivals the internet request to change Sonic's design for the Sonic movie. No official comment by Blumhouse or anyone involved in the movie has been made in relation to this issue people have, so yeah. It's like outright saying to a transgender woman that they're not a woman. There's screenshots of this through both Discord and Twitter. People were obviously upset by this, however there's also the fact that Nixon has since gone back on these statements and is no longer transphobic. Admitting so when asked by fellow user and friend of mine, Spongy124, for a statement. There's people that believe it's great that Nixon changed. In the video, he goes into detail on why he personally doesn't like FNAF's sister location, even having another FNAF YouTuber, Postra, as a special guest. He would criticize everything there was to the base game, like the gameplay and story, endlessly hating on Oya for his video, from tweets to YouTube comments to even videos. One of these people criticizing Oya was someone notable too, that being one of the former moderators of the FNAF subreddit, Misko. He would say, however, there's been a decent amount of controversy tied to this man, as he was also somewhat hated back in the day, believe it or not, whether it be people claiming his content was quote-unquote easy to make, people claiming some of the facts in his top 10 facts videos being kind of interesting in a bad way in the hearts of many FNAF fans. Elude him. Illudum is a primarily FNAF YouTuber who's been in the community since the beginning of the franchise's inception, having nearly 5 million subscribers as of me, Treasure Island, A Blood is Casa, Finance and Chuck E. Cheese Rebooted, and more. Now, basically, the controversy with these guys is objectively not as extreme as some others like Nietzsche or Jonathan or Tyler Ulstrom. Basically, these guys, according to a lot of people, are just huge dicks. The only reason it's down this low in the iceberg is really because of how not known it is. Slurs would often be used in their conversation.
This is prime. This is white boy rap swag at its peak. This is an S song. This is an easy S song. That's what made them want to get behind him, support him. But nowadays, he just bitches about reviews. He bitches about what other people say about him. It's like, what happened to the I don't give a fuck guy? Dude, this song. Dude, he's trying to do a Beastie Boys thing, kind of. Dude, this fucking blows. What is that sample? Joan Jett cleared this? She cleared this? Did she hear the whole song first? That's gonna join D. That's gotta join D. Medicine. Wait, I think Medicine Ball's.
I was in a group, and there were lights in the cave, so you know that probably helped. Cadaver goes, I guess, back to the opening of the plot before the moonlight engulfs him and turns him into more.
We're shocked to learn of this tragic incident. The creator was not part of our partnership program and was never monetized on our platform, but it was too late. Reflay was arrested shortly after the incident.
Except for that damn water skiing level in the swamp. Rayman 3, Hoodlum Havoc, would be more combat focused, and it starts with this really catchy beat using a jaw harp. And evolves into what sounds like, I don't know, secret agent music? The ability to hang.
I'm kind of retarded.
Perhaps they made up for it with the addition of multiplayer. I booted up Parsec since Steam Remote Play wasn't working properly, and immediately me and my thumbnail guy were having a good longtime series voice actor, Doug Rand.
Well, my little ones just needed to take a big nap.
If I understand right, this guy is responsible for dreaming up the entire world, known as the Glade of Dreams, which was a major plot point from Rayman 2. Looks like he got his hands on some of that extra dank kush, cushioned down to a fraction of what it was in Origins. It's even worse for the normal people that aren't playing on a Wii U, because Ubisoft, seeing that the thing stank like Pepe Le Pew, ported the game to other consoles and PC. Now Murphy automatically said, I consider Origins a damn near perfect game with perfect controls. It is satisfying AF. But with a moveset this expansive and controls this spot on, it really needed more levels to take advantage of them. You know, the kind of tightly constructed obstacle courses. I don't know what was going through Christophe Haral's head when he thought of having a mariachi band play Eye of the Tiger, but it was probably Computer Duster. Unfortunately, the game's idea of a reward for saving 400 teensies is a second playthrough of these, something that takes the slower pace I complained about and makes it thematically relevant, something that threw me for a loop and wound up becoming my favorite world, and it all started on a strange inflatable island.
Messed up. It's really fun to find a piece of media that doesn't feel like it was made for you. It's kind of thrilling to engage with something that feels like you might be too young to be experiencing. Like, you could play Five Nights at Freddy's just for like the jump scares and not really know the story and the lore behind it all, but it was cool to know in the back of your mind that this game was about a child murderer.
JR's was a game that was highly anticipated, with many people excited to see what this new fan game was going to be about. Just look at the teasers. These animatronics were heavily inspired by the original cast, but as the original definitely tried to stick to a more child-friendly style.
Then you can't really use the argument that the DCI can't have happened because we don't see those kids later, because the same thing is happening here. If you enjoyed this week's video, then you should do a giant backflip dive off a 200-foot diving board.
Collecting too many in order to spawn Shadow Bunny. These dark orbs are likely meant to be agony, which to define in the simplest way possible, as we learn within this story, Shadow Bunny is originally just a cardboard cutout character in a hide-and-seek attraction. simply being called a black shadowed bunny, that eventually manifests itself into a real creature due to the pure agony and rage that the main protagonist, Toby, inflicts onto the attraction after losing. It growing more and more as the story progresses due to Toby specifically involving Golden Freddy, or its former self, Fredbear. This is then further backed with FNAF 4, where he takes the role of Nightmare, a direct shadow of just be as easy as that. Here is where things get tricky. Within the infamous Midnight Motorist minigame, we play as the yellow guy, Willie Mafton, confirmed through 5 laps at Freddy's Midnight Motor, speeding home after the murder of Charlie earlier that night. We learn that he was kicked out of a bar named Junior's by a bouncer, the green guy, before eventually a pair of animatronic footprints that appears to have been watching the kid, likely luring him out the house. If we take everything as simple as possible, such as to do
Someone saw it and started rumors about it. Rumors about a body outside of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. To counteract this, Fazbear Entertainment launched an internal investigation. Not a police investigation, that would have led to the place potentially being closed down for a few days. So they began
cereal. Oh, and Fruit Loops were in Angry Birds Space, don't forget that. And Honey Nut Cheerios were a power-up in Angry Birds 2, so cereal might as well get its own spot on our web at this point. And Angry Birds Telepizza. I don't know what Telepizza is, but I felt inclined to include it. In Angry Birds Friends, we've had events for the Smurfs, Popeye, Green Day, and of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, which I guess isn't really a game, but it feels like it fits. Angry Birds 2 loves doing sponsored power-ups, leading to the wackiest collaborations we've seen yet. Mavis from Hotel Transylvania, Cadbury Eggs. Yes, that is real. Alright, that's all the small stuff, but we saved the best for last. Angry Birds' first big crossover game was Angry Birds Rio. In my opinion, it's the greatest Angry Birds game ever made, and without a doubt on here thanks to the Muppet game they made, which is of course part of the Disney sphere. And I think I will call it quits there. This was a super fun experiment, just seeing how many of these small franchises we can string together, and the final product is a crazy huge multiverse. It is so weird seeing stuff like Plants vs. Zombies and Shrek and Balloons and Disney all on the same list here. It's a mobile point-and-click game, let's just be honest. But take one look at the style of this game and tell me you don't like it. So charming, so polished. If this gameplay style isn't your sort of thing, you probably won't like it, but trust me, you know if you'd be into the sort of thing, and there are so many levels in this dang game, it is worth the $4 price tag. I suppose this could have been mechanic bit by bit, slowly getting slightly more difficult as you go. After the first area, you can choose your path, arcade levels or more puzzle-based levels. Personally, I enjoyed the puzzle ones much more. They aren't timed or stressful, and they take a bit more thought. No matter what level you play, just watching the bubbles combine and pop is really satisfying, especially in chain reaction. This game is free, go get it right now. A lot of my viewers told me to include games from a specific developer, Protostar. They have a theme, like when you're up in the sky, tasked with slicing up bad birds and landing back on the good birds to stay alive. Thankfully, the game is very forgiving the whole way through, and it's a nice, easy time to just sit and play all the way through. Just know this is an incredibly well-made game, and there's a sequel coming soon I cannot wait to play. There's actually a section on the App Store page entitled Hidden Gems. Very on theme. Second chance, here's a very different looking game called Microtrip. You're inside of some sort of creature picking up white blood cells or something. If you run out, you die, and these black things take a lot away from you as well. There are a ton of fun Apple Arcade games to try, but I want to see more love for these two in particular. I had 2 games on my list that didn't really fit the theme of any other, besides the fact games category can introduce them to a brand new vocabulary. In Retrogram, you're tasked with finding every single word using the middle letter at least once. I am no word wizard. I don't know of any weird or uncommon words. There's no chance I'm ever going to complete one of these daily puzzles, but I do like randomly inputting letters in the hopes of discovering a word I haven't seen, and that's cool. But unless you really love stuff like this, I'd just try it out for free first to see what you think. This game is brand new. I tried it and really enjoyed it and decided it had to be on our list, more puzzle focused. Each fake word has a different effect, so spelling lock lets you eliminate a square. It can also help bridge the gap to spell more words. The second was, from there you can upgrade and unlock new cats, continue playing more longer and difficult levels, and watch in complete awe as the cat god graces your presence. Battle Cats is certainly not hidden, but it is an amazing game that is still going strong to this day.
And yeah, I don't think there's many caves I could go in, really.
Probably not. They would have to be pretty big, yeah. And that was the plan, to take you in a little bit bigger cave, but I think, yeah, people would definitely...
How's it work? Because there's like so many different things to climb in. There's like hardness, where you have to go a certain route up a wall, or there's speed. What else is there?
Bouldering. Yeah,
and that's
which
like
is shorter,
okay,
but harder. But back then it was
pinks, there's blacks, there's all different kinds, and you have to climb according to the route. So, for instance, like we got on this wall,
looking at a wall and then trying to figure out how to climb it, based on how the holds are set up. But a speed route is always
15 meters,
and they climb in at 4.5 seconds.
Is that the world record?
That's the right world record.
4.5 seconds.
Yeah, around that.
Fucking hell! I mean, that'd be a fairly decent paced jog.
3 different categories. So from, I think it's like 12 to 14, and then 14 to 16, 16 to 18.
Okay, so you were the best 12 to 14-year-old at 12 years old
in
Norway. And Norway's one of the best. That self-satisfaction is great. So what did you do before? Like, were you always from age 10 you were climbing? Have you ever had a job? What have you done sort of growing up?
Delivering newspapers, that's the only thing. In climbing, never.
Okay.
Yeah. I started a few, like 3 years after I started, I got like my first shoe sponsorship.
Yeah.
I think it was 510 and Prana.
And it wasn't until I won the World's Strongest Man, I was like, when's this? Yeah. Even when I won World's Strongest Man, I was like, when's this money going to start coming in? You know?
What is the prize money like in World's Strongest Man?
I think winning the World's Strongest Man's like...
And I really thought he was cool and I wanted to be him. So I remember like my password on my computer, that was Chris Sharma. Like everything was Chris Sharma, posters on the wall. And I wanted to be...
Jesus. Yeah, fair play, okay. So you wanted to grow up to be like him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
that was my hero.
I could see that. That's pretty cool.
What else to do? I mean, like I mentioned, I dropped out of high school. Nothing else to do with my life. So I started a climbing gym and I started YouTube at the same time.
So when you say you started a climbing gym, did you buy your...
I mean, I'm one of the co-founders, of the climbing gym. And it's probably more, I mean, it's branded as my gym, but I own like a small percentage of the gym.
Okay. Is that when 18 you started up your first climbing school?
17, yeah.
Okay, and then you bought your first camera.
And then I bought my first camera. Yeah.
So did you always film yourself before that on phones or anything, or did you just start from...
Yeah, because I had like a decent following on Instagram. I had around 100,000. But the thing is, and what I realized on Instagram was that no one really cared about my climbing. Yeah, and people were really surprised how well you did at climbing. That was not expected.
I surprised myself.
Yeah.
I think, what do you think that is? Like the lat strength, the back strength, or the grip?
I think the fact is because a lot of climbers were like, oh, he gets all this attention and he's not actual climbing. It's almost like I'm cheating a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't care too much. I saw everyone else was so much skinnier than I was. And I thought, okay, if I actually want to become the best, I have to look more like these guys.
Yeah.
So I also started, I was on 1,000 calories a day for a long period. But then after that, I would just overeat and gain a lot of weight because it was natural for me. So I had a pretty unhealthy relationship to food for a while, but then I realized that my body is just not made that way. And I started eating more normally, and I also did way better. So, but for you, it's the opposite, right?
Oh, it's
That would be like
that would be a thing at strongman. So at the top level, so you get into the final, and you just if you thought someone was like getting an advantage.
Well, people climb 9C. So since then, this is like 10, 12 years ago, they have progressed, and now they're climbing 9C. So it's 9B, 9B plus, and 9C.
And these aren't speed things.
And while that might sound bad, it's actually much better than our previous game jams. In both Sector V and Darkness and Duckies, we probably didn't start playtesting till like the last day. It was pretty rushed. So I'd be cool. So yeah, this game now has over 60,000 plays, which is crazy. It's over like 70 times all the plays that our previous game jam entries have gotten like combined. So it's a really cool achievement. So yeah, in summary,
this game on console: Raccoon Adventure Animal City Simulator 3D Farm Super Deluxe Games 2023, or abbreviated to RAAC-S3DF-SDG. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. It's actually a score of 212,582. I just feel bad looking at the leaderboards for Cosmic Shake. Like, every single run is like 2 years ago, like basically when the game came out, and then nobody ran it since. Dude, Monster Racer. This is a PS1 game that only came out in PAL regions, and it surprisingly got like a decent sized player base for it. I love the run in 33rd, which is just the ESA run.
They bought a dev kit and they were like, dude, I have a banger idea.
It's not even their first game.
What do you mean?
Let's talk about some cool background.
Primary focus of the final chapter is the worst possible decision that could have been made here. It feels incredibly arbitrarily thrown in to inflate the playtime, and this section especially sucks when you're trying. Kinda ends up being useless. This final boss is the only time it comes in handy, and even then you don't need it because all it does is point you in the direction of levers that are pretty easy to find on your own anyways. I find that so strange because
and reveals it's Marley's. The next day, rumors about Marley's disappearance is starting to fester. One of them being she probably ran off to her boyfriend's. But that is simply a throwaway line, so that shouldn't matter, right?
Sent me a great write-up detailing a bunch of different Iranian topics, which both gave me the idea for this video and helped me jumpstart my research. She has an Instagram account revolving around books, so be sure to go show her some support. And last but certainly not least, thank you for watching. Have a good night.
Entirely defenseless. This single event essentially forces that worst case scenario on the player, now making it so that any threat that may appear while we're here is infinite, where the game tries its best to deliver on what all the suspense has been leading to in a way that doesn't ruin or cheapen the overall experience. And I'm sure you guessed from the title of this video and the way I've been talking about it up to this point that what you're about to see absolutely succeeds on the delivery of this climax.
They thought it would go well when they go there, but it has turned badly. Things started to get weird in that place. It was hunted, and the souls there still haunts the rusted suits, and they tried to run to the exit, then they were trapped. Then the lights went out and they got that William has to send us pre-recorded messages and that he put his son Michael on the night shift. So I guess this universe, FNAF 1 happens in 2005. And I guess Sister Location happens in 2007 because the game's description says it's been 23 years since they've been able to entertain kids. Talking about the fun times, I'm guessing. And as we learn later in the game, Left to Rust takes place in 2030. And we know that since it renders every other mechanic irrelevant, it makes the game way too easy. After night 2, we get another cutscene, this time taking place in 1987. This cutscene depicts an argument between William and Nick. William also has a different voice actor from the phone calls for some reason. They're talking about how kids find the place creepy. William, of course, is on the side that's not creepy. And Babies is also open at the time of this cutscene. Mike Schmidt could be the name of a DCI victim, I guess. This idea was called out in the Ultimate Guide, interestingly enough. And what's even more interesting is that it was one of the new pages for the book. It wasn't in the other versions of it. Mike being Jeremy is unlikely because, again, the week before implies Jeremy is the bite. Hallucinate the Freddy poster changing to one of Freddy ripping off his head. The East Hall posters changing to images of crying children, and the words, "It's me," and the Rules poster changing the newspapers about the MCI. And yeah, I know that they are the same as from the novels, and that is impossible. There's also the Phantoms. Them being burnt does make sense with Hudson's fire-related trauma, but here's the thing, them being burnt just makes sense to... It also seems like the Golden Freddy kid in the movie is also going to be a new character. Also in the movies, Mike's younger sister is Abby. It's Elizabeth in the games. The guard in the game could be someone else, and Hudson could just be a stand-in for them. However, we know the community does like Mike as the guard, or Hudson is just reflecting Mike's character, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist in the same continuity, you know? They parallel each other, sure, but they still exist in the same continuity. So now, let's compare Mike and Hudson evidence, since they do seem to be our most likely candidates. As you can probably tell, they both have really good evidence. Usually, in a situation like this, I would use Occam's razor, and which is implied in The Immortal and the Restless, and then Shadow Freddy followed him home, and then FNAF 3 gameplay stuff could work. While there, Mike sees the Phantom somehow. Although, I guess the ghost drawing could just mean nothing,
On this page, Mike is drawing them as ghosts when they get to the safe room. That's what I thought for a while, but honestly, I do think it probably is the Phantoms. If there was a Bonnie and the member of the animatronics didn't line up with the number of Phantoms, yeah, I would think they're just ghosts.
But on site, you have never seen anyone try it. You have never tried it yourself, and you do it from bottom to top. And actually,
wow.
I think there are only a handful of climbers having on-site at HC plus still to this date. That is the route. So you see there's water underneath, but the route is like 50-meter camera. But then as you get bigger, it's it's easier.
Was your mum always that pinned comment at the top?
That was a
great video.
But then, and the thing is, I'd never tried this route before either. You know, normally you would practice it with a rope beforehand, but I'd never climbed this before. And this is just a start. It gets way higher than this. This is almost a 300-meter route.
For those that are listening, they are literally climbing a vertical rock. You've got no ropes on.
Screwed. You know, it just looks more brutal.
I don't know, mate. You know, like, I don't know. Let's say you put your finger in a rock and there's like a bird in there. And
or a spider.
Or a spider.
This was right outside Vegas. So there's a lot
definitely going to be some creepy crawlies.
Scorpions, spiders, snakes.
So you could have been bitten on the hand.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any like rope in your back pocket just in case, heart and mouth the entire time.
Especially since I hadn't tried it before, you know, just trusting this guy, Alex Honnold.
Yeah.
And I think 99% of people would
have in these crazy situations. Did you have a better appreciation for him once you'd done that with him?
Yeah. I mean, I knew him a little bit from before then. But and I'm glad I did it, you know. When I look back at it now, I'm glad I did it. It was a very satisfying feeling after having completed that route. Just sitting at top and
I don't know. I feel like got a shotgun to the back of my head. I could probably hang on a rock for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you know, with my toes and fingers locked in.
But the crazy thing is too that Alex filmed all this. So I gave him my camera and he shot it with one hand.
Oh wow!
Hanging off
You
of
are
one.
shitting me. So he climbed one-handed.
Yeah. If you can see it, there's some shot that I always just dreamt of, you know. So I said yes to everything, and then it got to a point where now I'm stuck with a lot of things and it's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So I want to quit everything else and I want to focus on what I enjoy and do that right. It's better to do a few things right than to try to do many things.
So that passion is YouTube.
Yeah, I would say so.
Don't know is a full marathon to start with.
You start with a swim.
Start with a swim. 5 miles or 5K?
5K, I think.
5K swim. A full marathon, or was it
no? Then it's
little
cycling.
bit more?
100 miles, yeah, cycling, and then it's a full marathon. Which
I'm going to do that in the sea and rough terrain up mountains.
With only 2 weeks of preparation.
Why only 2 weeks of preparation? Why
because I don't have time for more. You know, I have so many videos planned.
And Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Brian won't even reply to my messages. You fucking fat piece of shit, Brian. When someone he has messaged you several times and you've left him on red. So fucking pick up your phone and fucking reply to people, you fat piece of shit. Okay?
There we go.
And open your fucking eyes. Schwarzenegger, but trying to get Arnold to give you some free time and do like a YouTube video, you're pissing in the wind. So, but there's people like that. Sylvester Stallone's probably another, like childhood heroes, you know, like the A-listers, the 80s and 90s super action heroes, you know. Trying to think, well, spent some time with Sylvester Stallone in that process as well.
That's cool,
yeah. So it's been pretty cool. Magnus, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Likewise.
And it's quite fascinating.
Realistic idealist and godlike atheist. A few weeks later, on November 2nd, Pekka went out to buy his new gun. He was disappointed to see that the Luger he wanted was not in stock. Instead, he decided to buy a 2 caliber semi-automatic Sig Sauer Mosquito handgun. The owner of the gun shop said that he bought about 1,000 rounds of ammunition with his purchase, but it has been more widely stated that he bought about 500. The owner of the gun shop said that their interaction wasn't a "Are you and your bitch? She sure is a cheap whore." While Pekka had tried to play it cool, he was stewing in anger on the inside. It's fairly likely that this interaction was the final straw for him. One called Jokela High School Massacre. The video started off with nothing but a black screen while a song by KMFDM, Stray Bullet, played in the background. Gradually, a picture of his high school faded into frame. He simply took it as evidence that his career as a rapper was right on track. Making a YouTube channel called Awake, he started posting more of his music. He also uploaded it to Spotify, who was coincidentally Awake's old Cub Scout leader. Robert promised that he would make the city more friendly for local businesses. Oddly enough though, he was never really seen campaigning to keep violent individuals from buying or owning firearms. The police came around to perform another wellness check later on. This is when Awake admitted to them that he was a depressed drug user. That year, Awake filmed a music video for one of his songs called Out of My Mind, a somber video that mainly shows him walking around the city of Highland Park in black and white. It was one of interest in me, but my parents are strict and I don't date, so I told him no, but we can be friends. It has been speculated that this was either the beginning of the end for Awake's mindset, or at least it was a very large contributing factor. From this point onward, him to pick it up. On July 18th, he bought another. Then on July 31st, he bought one more. In total, he ended up buying 5 guns. All the while, Awake hadn't given up on YouTube or music. Around the same time as his gun purchases, he had released an EP called Bang that included 8 new songs, given that he was gathering a fixed side of life. It contains everything from videos of violence to death to even worse. Making an account under the name Awake47, he began to lurk on the forum fairly frequently, chiming in from time to time until he gradually grew to post more frequently. It seems that the boy has feelings for the girl, as he is sending her romantic text messages from behind his textbook. She responds that she loves him too. The video then cuts to a depiction of Awake's own laptop.
Are you in need of freedom? Are you in need of freedom? Are you in need of freedom? Well, buy it today. Have you been held a prisoner of your own device? Buy freedom today. It's 100% freedom. I need you.
Cover art. Awake was now done with music. This wasn't because he had given up on his career, but because he believed he would soon be on the run from the law. Little did anyone know, he had been planning an attack for weeks. Throughout the up for the Independence Day celebrations, Awake started riding around on his e-bike throughout the town center where the celebration would take place, scoping it all out. He took some photos of the area for planning, and even narrates his final thoughts.
Like a sleepwalker, unable to stop and think, my actions.
Lives. Those who died were Irina McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy, Jacqueline Sondheim, Catherine Goldstein, Stephen Strauss, Nicholas Toledo Zarzoga, and Eduardo Ovaldo. Many people still stood in the streets in complete shock, unsure of where to go or what to do. The streets were now littered with abandoned lawn chairs. They opened but canceled their fireworks show, feeling that it was in bad taste. The Chicago White Sox felt similarly, playing their scheduled match but canceling the fireworks. A GoFundMe page was started in order to raise money for the 2-year-old child of Irina and Kevin. Awake himself continued to make waves from jail. He was caught making prank calls to a New York Post journalist and had his phone privileges removed for 30 days. After that, a woman with a blog, she had come up with an elaborate theory as to what had actually happened to Awake. She theorized that the founder of the Documenting Reality forum was actually operating an FBI honeypot-type website after he himself made a deal with the feds to get out of jail time for operating another site that hosted revenge porn. She felt that, after being well-known
Informants, they tortured and coerced me into falsifying evidence. John Willoughby and Alex McFadden, their special agents with the Chicago Division of the FBI. They were
talk about, because The Verge did an interview with David Baszucki, the CEO, and there was 2 things in the interview that I wanted to point out.
Do you think like the more mature things like nudity will ever be allowed on Roblox in any way?
I think what I would say is we would lead first and foremost with safety and civility.
TLDR is that Roblox was making an event that a bunch of Roblox kids would join to get free avatar stuff. And this event included a game called Boys and Girls Hangout RP by
tolerance for that kind of stuff.
And this is coming from the same company that had the audacity to say that a YouTuber is failing to immediately report suspicious activity to Roblox, which is exposing Roblox users. Basically imploded in the last 5 days. It's been crazy going on Twitter and seeing this stuff, but the first thing Roblox did is they put fuel on the fire. They doubled down on the removal of vigilantes from Roblox and made another post. It's even worse than the first one, because if you look at the bullet points, it says, while seemingly well-intentioned, the vigilantes already started with Game Rant talking about this petition, but again, I want to see this number be massive so that big news publications that the old people watch that invest not to settle or give any money to that poor kid. Anyways, gamers, I'm just going to say this because it might be a meme or it might be something that I probably should say, but I am completely okay mentally. I don't want to end things early, and I am adverse to dangerous situations. Anyways, bye-bye. I love you. Mwah!
I think we've all had it really stick to the coursework and instead spent the class period rambling on about their personal life. What's much less common is that professor ends up becoming a rage-fueled maniac, dead set on carrying out some sort of Georgia until 1999. He then worked for 1 semester at Brenau University before working at the University of Northern Iowa until 2001. Then finally he went back to work for East Carolina University for the next to be nothing more than an umbrella in the end. Shortly after, Tony demonstrated his lack of ability to read the room when he gifted some of his students an umbrella as a joke. Women in Tony's classes tended to have a fairly different experience than the men, to abandon their tenure using straight-up lying paperwork and lying students and threats to destroy their healthcare by firing them, just so he could go window shopping for new faculty that might do more useless research to please you fucks. He went out and bought a GP WASR-10 semiotic rifle. Online, he ended up purchasing about 1,000 hollow point bullets after researching what kind of ammunition would be the most devastating during an attack. All was concluded. The police later said, "This was not a volatile, explosive, erratic-behaving kid. It's not like alarm bells were going off." Died over a period of time afterwards. The victims, including the injured, were a variety of ages, ranging anywhere from 2 years old to the elderly. While the majority were Hispanic, as voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America. However, much like Patrick, it backfired on him. Hashtags like white supremacist in chief hit #1 on the trending section of Twitter as people chastised him for his past comments on immigration. While most of the killers in these stories would no longer be around to face trial by this point, Patrick was one of the rare special cases in which some form of justice could be attempted. He was indicted on capital murder charges on September 12, 2019. Arraignment was then held on October 10th. This is where he surprised the public by
feels really stupid playing one of these. Like, I'm just playing the level as normal, but I feel so fucking dumb just hopping through this level in my stupid little saucer. Like, I literally feel like a kid playing these levels, and not in a good way.
By the memes she reposted, she seemed to hold him in fairly high regard and identify with the way that he felt. She even used the Saint Eliot imagery that many of Eliot's most devout followers use when praising his actions, died or who they were. A teacher and further 3 students were taken to the hospital. While 2 of them were released shortly after, 2 others were left in the hospital in critical condition with life-threatening injuries for quite some time. As on December 18th, 2 days after the shooting, Alexander was arrested when it was found that he was trying to coordinate a shooting at a government building, something he had apparently brainstormed with Samantha online, saying that her funeral was set to be held on the 21st. Ruby was listed as a musician and an avid reader. She was close with her dog and her cat. Her friends said, "She gave great hugs. She was an amazing pianist. She loved to read. She was just an amazing young girl." A journalist and user on Twitter, Slatzism, made contact with him. Given how secretive the group is, they mainly refer to themselves as the Calm, short for the Community. The group has strong ties to a satanic cult called the Order of Nine Angels, where it has adopted a majority of its ideology, something that the FBI itself has even confirmed. How close Samantha was to this group has not yet been
completely lost in the process. If Nemesis were a threat that were chasing us constantly, it wouldn't feel balanced with the way RE3 is meant to be played, shown to us through the design without too much being changed for him to still be recognizable. Gone is his iconic trench coat, allowing us to take in all the grisly details of Nemesis' a difficult threat to kill. In this game, he's a complete pushover, meaning that any given time he shows up, assuming you have a grenade on you, you have no reason not to kill him. Calls him fuckface and blows him up with a rocket launcher. About 15 minutes into the game, and so far we have stopped Nemesis with a bookshelf, run him over, called him fuckface, and blown him up, all before he's designed. The RE3 remake tried to give modern audiences a new version of the Nemesis and a much more accessible game than what the original is now. But in trying to do so, they failed to properly recapture any of
and the family fun and above all safety is something the phone guy says in FNAF 2 as well, which would lead me to believe that the rebranding of Juniors was to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza in the form of the pizzeria we see in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Mind us for a moment and continue. We do know that the plushie is being used by Afton to lure Cassidy into the back room. Now pause. I know I just said there's literally no reason given as to why it's teleporting, And you may be questioning
the age. If Mike was anything younger than 14 in 1983, let's say 12, he can't be Fritz because you have to be at least 18 to work a night shift position. Wow, this is a huge problem, right? Well, no, not really. First of all, we don't know how old he was in FNAF.
We were introduced to the crying child, who the community believes to be William Afton's younger son. And we see his tragic death on his birthday, where his older brother and his friends try to scare him by bringing him close to animatronics he's afraid of, because there's no good memory here strong enough. They need to find some way to connect the crying child to their loved ones in life, to connect them to Mike. Mike has to be the one to get through to the crying child. Glitch Fredbear has so far been the only glitch we've talked in depth about. He pokes through the deception of the happy facade of animatronica and reveals that nothing about this place is real or will solve anything. We must dig deeper, down to the glitched layers to see past the deception. Our first glitched layer brings us down to an eerie wolf.
The first entry in this series
The walrus. You see, there was a clip in part 4 that I didn't show you. This one. Contran was the first person to upload this clip of Sandy Crisp the Goddess Bunny to YouTube.
Problem. The kids were only fed one sort of food. Jennifer and Joseph would simply pour some cereal, vegetable puree, which is a smooth liquid-like mixture of mashed vegetables, and water into a bowl. The kids were also forced to write out various phrases as punishment, sometimes thousands of times. One of the most common things that they would write after being punished, being written well over 1,000 times by one child alone, was, "My body stays flat on the bed at all times." The girl transferred to another location, to a hospital equipped with a pediatric intensive care unit. The girl was quickly found to have been suffering from a good number of medical issues.
The menu screen, and staring right back at us, Mr. Hamburger Head himself, Lockjaw. This being his first introduction to the series. Technically, he was shown in the Return to Freddy's 2 as a hallucination, making that his first appearance in the game. But difficulty curve. By only activating Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, Foxy, Kitty Fazcat, and Lockjaw. The f***, dude. Since everyone but Vigo is active, I might as well do a quick character intermission.
Game, it said, "Hello, blank blank blank, welcome to the game." And it was my computer's name, which I wasn't a fan of, so if that doesn't set the tone, I don't know what will. Now. Okay. I think... Oh, that's enough. That's all I need. Log that. See, this is the kind of thing with the audio, I don't know what I'm listening for, so my brain's kind of there at him, which I thought I was doing last time, but apparently not. But yeah, this is another one of those games where the silence is too silent, you know? Nasty. I was gonna call you a person, but I'm not even sure you're that anymore. Okay, so it is very, very... What's the word I'm looking for? If you look away for a... This is difficult. It's not even that it's difficult, it's just my natural reaction is to, like, move the mouse around and look for some kind of door controller to put a mask on, but I need to... You know what I'm gonna do? Way. Back into the shadows, buddy. You ain't nothing on me. What time is it? 4:30. Okay, I take it back. Night is lasting a long time. Oh my good lord. Oh my good lord. Oh my god, that was awful. She just ran straight past my office. Oh, I don't know what... I've panicked again. He was in one of them. I think he was in the left. Okay. Thank God I had that closed, because I do not have the reaction speed to whip down the camera and go to the right. Because I'm the best FNAF player in the world. I take back what I said earlier. Okay, I'm going to assume he's gone. Ready? I really should figure out where he is down the left, unless I'm getting lucky with all of them. Because that is a thing that happens, like in... FNAF in real time, they just went wherever the hell they wanted to. It's always Bonnie. Was that Chica? Oh, if I just missed her. Someone tell me in the comments if that was Chica. I know it won't help me now, but it would still be good to know that I'm not going insane. Okay, nothing. Is it got to the... I keep hearing movement and it's not What was that? This is the worst. Why do they take the hands off my clock? Put the hands back on my clock! Games. It's just gonna be my last words, I bet. Foxy's still... But yeah, that was one night at Freddy Fazbear's demo. I loved that. Yeah, really excited for the release. And if you are too, feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that funky stuff. Have my word. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!
I'll be your guide during your week-long
Look at the mask as well.
Now it's my turn to nag.
Okay. I wonder if it is that I tabbed out or I clicked something, because I'm assuming when I edit this I'll just make the screen go black, because I tabbed out the game and it like squeezed it to such an incredibly awful resolution.
Reading, while the suspect was charged, the bodies themselves were never found, which goes against the fact that years after these first murders, William was still freely running around in both the FNAF 2 location and later the FNAF 1. Well enjoyed. Thank you all for 250,000 subscribers, subscribe for more, and have a great day or night. Bye.
Similar to one another. Some of the games go on literally forever. I'll indicate which games I beat and which I didn't, but I made sure to learn as much as possible about the historically significant ones, and completed... I swear this isn't a joke. This is the earliest piece of Scott Cawthon media we have, and it will be 20 years until he releases Five Nights at Freddy's. It seems to have a system that is like a prototype for the Pilgrim's Progress game, which would be made 5 years later. Bogart is a standard 2D play. Really not much to do after you've figured out a build that works. Iffermoon is what Scott considers his first professional game. This game was fascinating lives. It's a very cute work with many zany moments that even has a story based on events in Scott Cawthon's real life. The animation has noticeably improved, but again, the humans... Chubby Hurdles is a truly aggravating game where you have to get a fat man over hurdles extremely slowly with very precise jumps. It's captivating for about 20 minutes.
In the series were conducted in the most gruesome ways possible. The paintings and the titles would always be some kind of horrific or body mutilation, dead kids everywhere.
That was hidden behind the living room couch. Here is the painting.
There is zero plot progression whatsoever. Every episode literally goes how I just described back then. Each video is just a huge exposition dump about how each person got animatronics that kills people. And I'm sure that is very similar to other analog horror series such as the Walton Files and FNAF VHS series. I do want to point out that Sneaky Snack
The first episode begins on some historical context, dating back to 1949, explaining that the Soviet Union conducted nuclear tests in the Sea of Okhotsk through the use of submarines and under the supervision of NATO. We notice that the name Paradisus is given coming out from the water. Nothing more is stated regarding the creature after that, while it is only said that the locals died after a couple of months. But we're unsure if this is a result of radiation, which would be hard to digest when we take the distance into account, or something else entirely. It was a trap laid for him. He either tampered with the submarine, causing it to implode, or he is certain that the creature will attack the submarine. In my opinion, the APE had nothing to do with the Soviet nuclear tests, and the only misfortune they had was to be based near the Pacific Ocean.
It would simply be to track down which music boxes they were recorded from. In my small amount of searching, I probably didn't even scratch the surface in terms of what's out there even just on these. And, you know, people cracking wise that the songs might be from an adult film. And people telling me I should just ask Scott. I told you, he just got them from Sound Dogs. He doesn't know. Although a lot of the recommendations, like it was recorded from a real music box, I highly doubt that. I'm pretty sure this is just the guy who recorded these from the original antique music boxes and mastered them for digital audio release. Aimed from the title of the original composition, but maybe it didn't. Maybe they just gave it this name because it sounds like the kind of song that would be named Fairy Dance. Hell, maybe the original music box had fairies painted on it, so they
videos to this platform. While you might associate YouTube with creators who make videos for the purpose of being viewed and shared around by strangers, the vast majority of uploaders on this platform use YouTube as a way to park video files, whether it's home movies or presentations for work or school projects. These sorts of videos are usually only shared between a small group of people. Yeah, being from a colonial country like Canada, I've always been curious, just where do my ancestors come from? Well, today, I was lucky enough to partner with My Heritage to sport from the equation. Instead of trained wrestlers competing for a title, we instead get a sort of live theater that usually consists of two sweaty, muscle-bound men wearing skimpy clothes pretending to physically dominate the other guy. With WWE essentially being fictional entertainment, video with photos of the crime scene. If I were to try to assign some sort of meaning to this strange lost internet horror project, I would say it might have been trying to highlight the way these extreme physical performers essentially destroy their bodies and minds for money. The video is called Walking Blind, which is presumably the title of the song. It has 89,000 views and was uploaded in 2023, which is kind of weird as this video really seems quite a bit older than that, different about this channel than the others. On their main channel page, there's a second row of linked channels, which are ones we haven't seen before. The profile pictures here all appear to be AI-generated images, and the content of these channels is no less consistent than the others, but you will notice a new trend emerging here. If we click on this channel called Hide, you'll be greeted with a new era of the internet. It doesn't help that the image is so low resolution in this upload, and it seems like the piles of similar pictures search engines are spitting out at me are truly endless. And as much as I would like to keep looking, I gotta call it quits in the original site of the Blair Village. And just 1 year later, children once again begin vanishing. More than 100 years later in 1940, 7 children disappear over the course of just a few months, the highest amount since the 1700s. Forgotten by time. Today it's only accessible via the Wayback Machine, and not only that, I can't seem to find any mention of it anywhere on the surface web today. It's as if it never existed. On Joe's page, we learn that the phone number in Toby's locker was for Gord Publishing, and that Joe is currently headed to San Francisco to look for Toby. On Daniel's page, we find him mid-argument with a character named Jelma, whom I should mention never comes up again in this story. The important thing here is that we learn that Daniel is trying to stop Hale. Internet horror projects from the 90s, even ARGs, mostly had disclaimers to let the audience know everything was a work of fiction, but the incident was completely earnestly presented, at least for a few years. As a result, most people thought it was real. Balder actually included a comment section on his site that contained his best friend. If we consider Teddy to be both an honest representation of Alan's inner thoughts, as well as just repeating out-of-context things Resnick may have said in the past, we can put together a story that might explain what happened to Alan's wife. All throughout this special, Resnick continually talks about skin. Whether it's the skin stress test he does, his intense-only YouTube video to have a custom font on the YouTube player page. Success is great and everything, but too many cooks would create some problems for the infomercial series. The whole idea behind these specials was the audio here is thin and hard to hear, the visuals are blown out and compressed, and just look cheap overall. There's nothing other than the fact that you're watching cable TV to let you know that what you're looking at isn't real. Maybe there's something wrong with the hotel's cable box and someone's actual home security camera network somehow got mixed in with real TV channel. And I'm not kidding when I say a lot. This infomercial may have been under 12 minutes long, but its associated website held almost 2 hours of hidden videos and audio. And that's not even mentioning all the extra text files and images that implies some sort of danger to herself when they finally snap out of it and focus on reality to try to help their daughter. But as they realize they basically have no power over the situation, the dad once again detaches from reality and starts spewing like wacky man on the street interviews or cringy prank videos.
Ask you where you're going.
Answer my question. Where the hell are you going? Answer my question.
The police department's, last time I heard, has 20 units with infrared. If you have enough of a heat source in your house, it'll pick up the heat source.
And it's with Alex Jones in particular where we start to approach the more risque parts of.
I hadn't even heard of the melee glitch where you could play as him at this commercial and a ton of various combinations with those words, but I never got anything even close. I even tried doing tip of my tongue searches for similar recounts to mine, but the closest thing I could find was one. What it was, it must have just been on as background noise. I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of grasping at straws to make sense of this experience. So yeah, I'm pretty stumped. The fact that this memory is so weird and hazy makes a part of me wonder now if this was just some weird nightmare I had as a kid.
Out of the Machine sadly falls into a category of FNAF fan game akin to The Return of Freddy's.
What? Because it really helped with the character that I was working on. Jack recalls on Hip Hop Uncovered. Then I said, "You got something for me?" He was like, "Yeah, man. Just your swagger. The life and death." He also warns Madonna to please be careful.
Live tale about a snitch named Haitian Jack. Knew he was working for the Fed.
A self-proclaimed participant in the robbery named Dexter Isaac told what had happened that night and who was behind it. In addition to the 4 names that Tupac named, Biggie releases the song Who Shot Ya, which was recorded before Pac was shot. The producer of the song understood that this was not the best time to release this project, how to keep the feds from tracking them. And earlier in 1995, Suge had even invited Biggie Smalls to perform at his club 662 in Las Vegas.
Shot 5 times, mine is just completely spinning, you know what I'm saying? You're real confused about your situation.
On September 23rd, 1995, Suge Knight's close friend, Frank Alexander, said in an interview that he had asked Tupac, "Did you ever hear what you recorded?" And he was like, "Yes, I wrote it myself." And then the guards suggested had 2 blown out tires. So we didn't get far before coming to a stop.
I'm driving, telling him I'm gonna get to the hospital, kick back. Pac looked at me and said, "You know what? You need the doctor more than me. You the one going to find out way to the hospital."
Tupac fought for his life for 6 whole days, but unfortunately, he died at the age of 25. Napoleon said that Tupac wasn't being himself during the...
Then he gave away his jewelry. A couple days later, he passed away.
He's always talking about death. Don't forget you could die, nigga. You die, I could die, we could die, I'ma die. Nigga died, nigga, you wanna die?
Ei oo siis. Okay. Se sana vaan vituttaa mun. Mä osaan vitosen sit kurssia, mä pääsen vaan läpi, koska mä en ikinä halua käydä sitä kurssia.
Mitä niinku relatable.
Ei logi, mun pitäis lukea tää kirja ehkä.
Ehkä. Time to lock in. Mä olin niin vitun kokattu silloin sunnuntaina. Deadline oli sinä päivänä, mulla oli vittu, en ollut edes aloittanut sen. Monta sivua sulla siis jäljellä?
Kaikki.
Sä et oo lukemassa ennen tuntiin, bro. That shit is not happening.
No, watch me work.
Mihin sun tarvii lukea se?
Kun kirjakuulustelu.
Holy fuck, toi spagetti, minkä mä söin vähän aikaa sitten haluun ulos tällä hetkellä. Mä en tiedä mitä tapahtui. Yhtäkkiä mun vitun vatsa räjähtää, bro. Anyway.
Karjamuuttajan regressioanalyysi. No. Tuohan on sitten aivan päin vittua.
Jep.
Hei. What? Jaha. Tämähän on ihan vitun helppo.
Mä en tajunnut mitä vittua regressio tarkoittaa, mutta ihan sama. Se haittaa.
Maybe. 1990. 24. 31.
21.
Se, mikä malli mukaan ensimmäinen juoksi? Ykkytys 2000.
Aha. هانتكيري كل شي فيك Nasson Johnny Khaliki
Niiden tehtävä, nyt mä voisin lukea tätä kirjaa.
Tai Huh?
Mä oon logged in.
Tai Mackie, I guess. Nice. Brave dead more.
Hold on. What the fuck, this game not updating on command?
So just look at swagger-kirjaa.
Niin mä mietin, kun mulla on auto-updateit päällä, mutta ei ollut updateannut.
Interesting. Sokerista. Kaikki joka puolella aitamat selkaa meihin. Ottelemaan tosessa reit. Shoutout Peltsissä säälipisteet. Kännitään snappin ja ääniviesteitä. Klipillä. Vittu. Ei, mä olisin klipannut. Hey, listen.
6 months after he got out, Tupac was shot again, 4 times.
The car was driven by Death Row Records boss Suge Knight, who escaped with a slight wound.
Interpreted the most.
Another day, another dramatic entry in the lives of Vlad and his distressed mistress.
In my reading of Moon.exe, we first see M2 coming into consciousness, originally split off from M1 or Fiona's programming, before becoming his own thing, where he rebuilds himself. M2 on the surface is destroying the building and ultimately the physical enemy. It permeates items associated with tragedy and violence. In high quantity, it becomes a viscous black goo that drips down the walls, and makes nightmares into reality. The animatronics hunt you down in FNAF 1 is because of the way the minigames were presented to us in FNAF 2, and because there aren't really a lot of popular stories or ghost lore about haunted video games. Once again, I think is associated with Monty, as their allegorical Freddy's band member, is also likely Old Man Consequences. And this right here is why I'm not confident in saying that Edwin is actually Old Man Consequences. He just goes fishing. He also tries to pass his knowledge and wisdom on to the next generation, to a child, to the one you should not have killed. Secret of the Mimic gives us a good contender for Old Man Consequences. By the time of Security Breach, Fiona is likely active again, and consciously controlling everything from underground. This theory is called Fate Fiona, but what I'm positing right now goes beyond childlike machine at that. It can't tell the difference between its war games and real war. It's just a child playing a game that it's really good at. The moving back her son. What very obvious conclusion can we draw? Well, if F-10 is like Whopper, but instead of defeating Russians in the Cold War, it's trying to build another David, what would it do? Years in a way the crying child couldn't. He'll also have to accept his friends the way that the crying child should have, which will probably mean trusting Cassie and Vanessa. Vanessa will have to do what Elizabeth couldn't, and cast off the influence of the father figure, who is represented by William.
We measure our worth by all the days we wasted them. All of our time and all of our might are fuel by the heartache of winter. We'll fight the lion's way, then let the right way shine our pride away. So if this victory is our last odyssey, then let the power where there's desire.
Cause life's like this, that's the way it is. Chill out.
Of me, give me all of you. Cards on the table, we're both throwing hearts, risking it all, though it's hard. Ja sankareita ilman viittaa, ilman harniskaa. Reita ilman kiitosta tai kunniaa. Melankolisia, viilelämpöisiä. Hiljaisia, kun me aletaan, se laulu kohoaa korkeuksiin. Ja kun me lauletaan, when my back is to the world that was smiling when I turned. Tell you you're the greatest, but once you turn.
A wreck of emotions, ready to go whenever you let me know. The road is long, so put the pedal into the flow. The energy on my trail, my energy unavailable. I'ma tell him my silhouette go. Hey, when I fly on my drive to the top, I've been out of shape, thinking out the box. I'm an astronaut. I blasted off the planet, rock that caused catastrophe, and it matters more because I had it not.
At the drop, running out of time. Another protester has crossed the line. Love, guess you found a way to get through. Got so used to feeling nothing. The way that we have fallen ain't the same. Is this love to you? Is this what you? I can't control myself. Somebody wake me from this nightmare. I can't escape this.
Unpredictable, but in the end that's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Now that you think I'm crazy, you better believe that I'm coming for you. You were the one who told me that I was the one.
Yeah, I'm a Tommy boy, don't lie, so I ain't gon' slide if that shit ain't by the bag, yeah. My life changed so fast that I don't even recognize myself from last year. She got dark thoughts, let me hit some, yeah. Baby, I be messed up for ya. Said she wanted me to explore her now. Baby, let me get a little toy, yeah. And she got dark thoughts, let me hit some now.
Told her that I love her, but she thinking it's a game, oh no. Now she uncomfortable, never wanna make it for one dimension, oh yeah, oh nah, nah, nah. Don't know how we got there, but she got me starting now. Honesty, there's such a
ole täysin varma, mitä tää on, mutta hän vaikuttaisi tällä kertaa olevan tosissaan. Poljettuna maahan nämä... Miten se nyt tolleen? Mä pistän mihin vaan! Mene tietyt vuodet oman pakaspäivän kerrallaan ja ensiksi vaan!
On vuoristossa jossakin aarrekultineen. Sen taru kertoo Abashain sinne kätkeneen. Intiaani tiipii
Fortunate search pop up while live, which was then spread throughout the internet.
Vittu, tää on hyvä jätkää.
Miehet kuvailivat, kuinka 10-luvun alun Malmin kartanossa kavereiden ja sieltä saadun yhteisöllisyyden merkitys oli suuri.
Se perhe ja se on mitä se on, mutta siinä vaiheessa mä oon vasta kotona, kun mä tuun pihalle ja mä oon näiden äijien kanssa.
Tää, missä Atte on ollut tärkeä hahmo omassa maailmassaan. Tää liittyy todella Atteen ja tää on merkittävä, syvällisempi ja paljon kiinnostavampi.
Asunut ympäri Suomea, kierrellyt laitoksissa ja lähtenyt hatkaan ja huumeiden käyttö alkoi tosi nuorena. Et niinku 12-13-vuotiaana tuli pilviä ja bensot ja 14-vuotiaana tuli toi Subuteksi ja siitä sit lähti alamäki, että oli paljon hatkoja ja
Back to this chillin' shit. Social started rapping, now the war going viral. Boy, this bitch cracking. Boy, they ass lacking. Hit they block twice, a lot of booming, no jamming. His mama pop out like, oh goddamn, what happened? This the type of I bring that winter heat. Niggas stand the whole October, the real Halloween.
Cherry Production.
I'm gonna let that Mac fly just like my nigga dope. I'm gonna let this Mac fly with this one, hold on. His lip, he cupping up, but now I sneak up, crouching like a tiger, like Snoop off the wire, the block on fire. So I take precaution, mask on Michael Myers. I'm on his ass, he finna be mad, he gon' beat her ass. But this calls, 3 of them for mom, the other 6 say duck. Now I look up and I see a truck, it's just pulling up, someone hopped out. A big goofy nigga, he tryna look tough. I'm like,
Slick, blood, baby, this the blood. I don't use my hands, I let the blood talk. Took the these and max and make you blood. I can make any nigga hit the trip.